One of the biggest draws of Martin Scorsese's The Irishman is the casting of Joe Pesci, who he worked with previously on Raging Bull, Goodfellas and Casino. The acquisition of Pesci was interesting. He's been retired since the late 90s but did have a cameo in his friend Robert De Niro's The Good Shepherd and later starred in Love Ranch, before he was to make a comeback in a John Gotti biopic, which he ended up pulling out of before suing the production company since he put on a significant amount of weight for a role but was later asked to play a different part. In between all of this, Pesci, Scorsese, De Niro, Al Pacino and screenwriter Steven Zellane took part in a script reading for an adaptation of the best-selling crime novel I Heard You Paint Houses, called The Irishman. It is reported that they all laughed back and forward at the wise guy humour in the script, and De Niro went on record saying all three actors were fully committed to the project. But then around 5 years later in 2017, we got a scare when preparations were being made for the actual filming of The Irishman, because strangely Pesci turned down the project. We've never really been told why, and apparently both Scorsese and De Niro were repeatedly chasing him until finally it was confirmed that yes, Pesci would be in the film for his fourth Scorsese outing and very likely his final film. Fans of both Scorsese crime films and Joe Pesci will no doubt be excited for Pesci's role in the film. Often typecast as a profanity-fuelled raging midget, whether it be in family movies like Home Alone, comedies like My Cousin Vinny, or hard-boiled crime films like Once Upon a Time in America, Joe Pesci carries immense screen presence, injecting traits like vigour and intimidation into his fuming, irate characters. I can't help but feel though, to an extent, that people expecting Pesci to replay his characters from Goodfellas and Casino are going to be disappointed, because his role in The Irishman, despite playing a mafia boss, is likely to be very different from his previous shouty characters. Pesci is playing Russell Bufalino, who was the boss of the northeastern Pennsylvania crime family and one of the most powerful gangsters in the country at the time. His nickname was the Quiet Don, which should give you an idea of what kind of person we're talking about here. Unlike famous mobsters like Al Capone, Bufalino never flaunted his wealth or his power, often giving off the impression of a simple, polite, humble old man. In the book the movie is based off, I Heard You Paint Houses, Bufalino never swears or raises his voice. In fact, hitman Frank Sheeran, who worked for Bufalino, said that the angrier he got, the quieter he got. Robert De Niro will play the main character Frank Sheeran, who befriends and works for Bufalino, later coming to realize that he is the boss of a powerful crime family. Though incredibly dangerous and authoritative, with an intense presence commanding respect and esteem, descriptions on Russell Bufalino in the book are light years away from what we've come to expect from most Joe Pesci characters. His character is very wise and intelligent, calm and introverted. He talks only when he needs to, and when he opens his mouth everyone in the room stops talking and listens. Bufalino becomes a mentor for Sheeran and was one of the two men in his life whom he respected the most, the other being union leader Jimmy Hoffa. So from the information we know, if you're expecting an angry, short, sweary man in The Irishman, you're going to be disappointed. Such a character does exist in the film, in gangster Anthony Provenzano, a perfect fit for Joe Pesci, but who will instead be played by British actor Stephen Graham, who you might recognise as Al Capone from Boardwalk Empire, among other noteworthy roles. In my opinion, this is yet another reason to be excited for the film. If Pesci was cast as Provenzano, it would be more of the same of what we've seen from him in the past, and seeing as though his role in Casino was criticised for being a repeat of his part in Goodfellas, it may have been a conscious decision to give him a different kind of role. It is going to be really cool seeing Pesci as an elderly boss of De Niro's character, an accomplice of Pacino's and a close friend of Harvey Keitel's. I have absolutely no doubt that Pesci will be able to pull off this quieter, more reclusive role. There are numerous examples, like his brief role in The Good Shepherd or the graveyard scene in Lethal Weapon 4, that shows he is able to expertly deliver a sincere performance. And of course, his roles in Casino and Goodfellas, in particular the What's Funny scene from the latter, gives all the proof you need that he can easily switch from light-hearted and humorous to spine-chillingly scary. All in all then, I would say reset your expectations if you think that the Joe Pesci of old is going to turn up. He'll likely be far less unhinged and much more refined. Even still, I think that his role in The Irishman could be one of the best of his career. At the very least, it will be one of the most different. Thanks for watching.